What if reality was just a dream that you forgot you were dreaming? In the hit movie Inception, Christopher Nolan didn't just give us a sci fi thriller, he gave us a coded spiritual message about consciousness, imagination, and most importantly, the power of assumption. Welcome back to the Dreamy Reality, and in today's video, we're going to be diving into how this movie is a mirror of Neville Goddard's teachings on manifestation, the subconscious, and the self-concept that shapes everything. This is Inception through the lens of the law of assumption, and it may just change the way you watch the film completely. One of the most iconic lines in Inception is this: "An idea is like a virus, resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate." That is exactly how assumptions work. In Neville's world, an assumption is a belief accepted as true, especially at the subconscious level. Once you assume something, like I am wealthy, or I am unloved, or I always get what I want, your outer world reshapes itself to reflect it. In the movie, they don't try to force Robert Fisher to act differently. Instead, they plant an idea so deep that he thinks it's his own. That's what we're doing when we impress a new belief through assumptions, imaginal acts, or repetition. We plant it so deeply that the mind begins to say, "This is who I am." In Inception, the dream world follows one rule: the dreamer creates the world. Time stretches, space bends, physics are optional. And this is exactly what Neville meant when he said, "The world is yourself pushed out." In the dream, whatever the dreamer believes becomes real. The subconscious becomes the stage designer, the actor, and the director. Your imagination isn't fake, it's creative consciousness in action, just like a dream. And Inception shows us what Neville taught. All transformation begins within, not through effort or force, but through imagination and assumption. Remember, the dreamer controls the dream until they forget they're dreaming. That's us in real life. We forget we're the creators, and Inception reminds us to wake up to our power. Now let's talk about the subconscious mind. One of the most powerful metaphors in Inception is the idea of going deeper, layer after layer of dreams. To change someone's behavior, they have to go several layers deep into the subconscious. This is exactly what Neville talks about when he says feeling is the secret. You can't just say I am rich on the surface and expect change. You have to feel it as real. You must sink into it, accept it as your natural state, and let it reshape the inner world. The elevator scene is especially powerful. Each floor is a memory, an emotional imprint. Cobb keeps returning to guilt, and that guilt becomes a projection, which is Mal, who sabotages every mission. This is a direct parallel to self-concept. If you carry guilt, shame, or unworthiness deep down, those assumptions will sabotage your manifestations, no matter what you affirm on the surface. Mal isn't just a character, she's a symbol. She represents an unhealed assumption that lives in Cobb's subconscious. He assumes he's guilty, and that assumption recreates Mal again and again in every dream. She shows up as resistance, sabotage, and self-doubt. This is exactly how limiting beliefs work. You may want love, success, and freedom, but if your deep assumption is, I don't deserve it, or I'm not good enough, or it'll never happen to me, then the Mal in your mind will always interrupt the dream. Inception shows us to change the dream, you must change the inner story, not by fighting it, but by forgiving it, neutralizing it, and replacing it with a new assumption. And how do we do that? Neville's answer would be through imaginal acts, through living in the end, through assuming the new reality as already true, deeply and consistently. The ending of Inception is iconic. Cobb spins the top, the totem that tells him whether he's dreaming or not, but this time he doesn't wait to see if it falls. He walks away. And the reason is because reality is no longer about proof. It is about assumption. He assumes he's free and he assumes he's home, and so he is. Neville Goddard taught that the outer world is a shadow and that the inner man is the true self, the one who imagines, feels, and assumes. He wrote, "Man is all imagination, and God is man, and exists in us and we in him. The external body of man is the imagination. That is the divine body." Cobb's freedom wasn't about escaping a dream. It was about the inner man finally letting go of guilt and assuming a new story, one of peace, presence, and love. The inner man doesn't need external confirmation. It lives in the assumption and assumes what is real, and what it assumes becomes real. So in the end, it doesn't matter if Cobb was still dreaming. What matters is that he chose the assumption that felt real to his inner man, and reality followed. Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Persist in the assumption, and it will harden into fact." That's what Cobb does. He assumes freedom, he assumes the happy ending, and he lets go of needing proof. And that is the ultimate lesson in manifestation. Inception isn't just a movie, it's almost a spiritual manual for manifestors. It teaches what Neville Goddard spent his whole life explaining. Your assumptions are powerful, your inner world is the true reality, and your imagination is the creative force of the universe. So the question is not, is it a dream? The question is, what reality are you assuming right now? And remember, if it's real in your imagination, then it's real, period. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep dreaming intentionally. Bye for now.